This is the year 2020, and if you're living through the year 2020, you know that surprising things are happening almost every single day. So you and I shouldn't be surprised by it any longer. So when Brandon Sanderson says, hey, surprise, here's a book, then you should just be like, yeah, probably. Well, apparently a couple of days ago on September the 15th, Brandon Sanderson and Mary Robinette Kowal released a audiobook that they wrote together called The Original. No one knew about this. No one was talking about this. Brandon Sanderson didn't have it on his list of books that he was working through on his website that everybody faithfully tracks because we want to know how close he is to finishing the next Stormlight novel. And he's done that. I mean, this guy's a monster. Well, apparently, in all that Brandon Sanderson is able to do, he is also able to work with another author to co-write a story in the sci-fi genre. There are so many things about this that are just 2020. One is that it's sci-fi. It's not fantasy, which Brandon Sanderson typically resides. Has he done some more scientific well, first of all, is his fantasy scientific? Yes, absolutely. They're so systematic. But more than that, he's done a few novels outside of the general fantasy realm. But his bread and butter does come down to fantasy, and typically like hard mechanical fantasy. I don't know much about Mary yet. I do know that they are in a writing group together. So they are friends, they write together. I would assume that Mary also does a lot of fantasy as well, but I haven't read anything by her to know. So the genre is a little off, but not only that, the medium is a little odd. We typically read physical books, right, or ebooks, or we listen to audiobooks of physical books, but they decided to do something entirely different here, and I'm already seeing people angry about it, and it is that they just did this audiobook only. Now, the story is short. It is a short story. It is a novella, but there's no physical thing. You can't read this physically. You can only listen to this. And what's more is that it's kind of like an audio experience, somewhat of an audio drama. Here's what I mean. It is only done by one individual. The individual that did the voice work in this audiobook is Julia Whelan. Is that how you pronounce her last name? Whelan. She's an actor. She's done some audiobook narration before, but this isn't her forte. But she does an incredible job here. It's not a cast of voices. She does all of the different voices, none too extreme where it's distracting, but gives them all their own personality, while there is some backing tracks, some sci-fi-esque kind of musical pad vibes that are going on depending on where the characters are in the story. This is an interesting approach, especially for me, who I like to read audiobooks because I listen to them as I'm in the shower, as I'm brushing my teeth, as I'm driving my car, as I'm doing the dishes, as I'm doing other things. And if I listen on the regular normal speed anymore, it sounds like molasses that a snail has crawled through, that is riding on the back of a turtle. It feels really, really slow, and so I usually listen to audiobooks on at least, I start with 1.5 speed and might even move up to 2, just depending on how well the narration is and all of those things. Well, you don't really have that option here because of the musical backing to all that's going on. I did speed it up a little bit just so it didn't sound so slow, but I didn't get anywhere close to 2, which is fine. I'm not first and foremost reading books just to get through them. I'm reading books to enjoy them. So then the question is, I guess, did I enjoy the book? But before I do that, let me tell you what the plot is. The original takes place in a futuristic society where society is improved by this nanite technology, and humans are able to live longer and happier, again, quote unquote, really hard on the quote unquote, happier lives because of this advancement. One of the things that this technology allows them to do is see their world thematically. They each have individual themes that you can download. So for example, there is a club scene, and instead of just music bumping over the loudspeakers, each of these individuals have their own theme on. So not only are they seeing certain things, they're hearing certain music. So one guy can be over there jamming to one style of music while another girl can be jamming to an entirely different style of music, and they can be in the same vicinity. It sounds a lot like, now that I'm talking about it, it sounds a lot like a silent disco. But it's much more than that, because when you if you do not have a theme turned on, then there's something off about you. There's something wrong about you. And if you bump into someone else that has a theme going on, you, for a few seconds, it kind of bleeds over and you see and hear a little bit of whatever theme is going on in that person's reality. Now, with that scene set in place, we've got our protagonist, Holly, who is a provisional replica. This is a glorified clone. She, at the very start of the book, it's not a reveal, you realize this. She is brought back to life, or brought to life for the first time, with the sole purpose of, within the next 4 days, seeking out, finding, and eliminating her original. We get this story through a first-person perspective, through Holly's eyes, this provisional replica, as she's experiencing her days trying to seek out her original and trying to go through the moral quandary of, like, do I need to kill myself? And is she deserving of being killed? And why did she do the crime that she's convicted of doing? And it's all of these, like, deeper things that the authors are trying to communicate through this story about not only, like, morality and about life and about reality and all of those things. They're definitely trying to teach us something more here. In summary, this world and this story and this medium, I think they were all done extremely well. It's only like a 3.5 hour audiobook at normal speed, and so I was able to do this in just a simple afternoon, and I enjoyed it. You can do it over the course of just a couple of days, and I think it's something that's very accessible to everyone. Now, if you're adverse to audiobooks, if you cannot do with audio, with like music backing at all, if you prefer the physical media, then you're already going to have an aversion to this. It's also a novella, so like you're not going to get super attached to any of the characters. It's not specifically character driven. Outside of Holly herself, I didn't feel connected to anyone else in the story, but we've got such little time for any other character development that this is really just a plot driven sci-fi novella, and for what it's attempting to be, it's ambitious, of course, but I think it's done remarkably well. That is my quick review of the original. What did you think of this surprise audiobook? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Would you rather it in a reading format, or did the audio kind of work for you? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and clicking like. If you haven't yet, click subscribe, join the Dragon Army, and we'll see you in the next video.